I've been really vocal about this, and I think you have too. It fascinates me how tightly knit the golf YouTube community has come in such a short time, and I've been begging for hockey to kind of do the same thing. I think you're really on the precipice of something, man, because YouTube and golf. I'm at the point now where I'm enjoying watching YouTube golf almost more than I enjoy watching the PGA Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's because it's real, it's raw, it's uncut. It relates to the everyday golfer. Not a lot of these guys are unbelievable out there. A lot of them are, maybe some hacks or hacksaw Jim Duggins, if you will. There's a lot of guys out there that are just like everyday golfers, like that Bob Does Sports guy. He's hilarious. I really like watching his stuff. And then you have other guys, YouTube golfers, that are actually really good sticks. They can play at, a pretty good level of scratch or even a plus player. But I just think we're like the NHL. They need to let their hair down a little bit. They need to influx more of not necessarily like a bad boy approach, but it's so vanilla. Even when I was up there for the Four Nations, and it's no disrespect to all the creators that were at that game playing like a little 3-on-3 thing before one of the games, but I just think there's so much room within YouTube, and there's so much room within comedy and different things where they could open it up and take the governor off a little bit and not act, in terms of in fear or being scared of some of these creators. At the end of the day, like, the creators, they represent themselves. They don't represent the league as a whole. And I just think there's a way to do it where you could get so many more eyes on hockey versus just the traditional hockey fans and kind of just playing it safe all the time. And then that's not to say like you need to go out and just get like lunatics, but like, you can keep it PG-13 or a little R, and it's entertainment at the end of the day. And I think the NHL that's what they're lacking a little bit. I think in terms of the entertainment value, if you look at the UFC and some of these other leagues that are just thriving, it's just like they just let the athletes be themselves, and they just take it and just deal with whatever happens after. And generally it's good for not only the sport, but puts dollars back into the athletes' pockets as well.
Yeah, I think you said it right. I mean, you're one of the few guys that I remember seeing interviews on. I'm like, oh, that guy's actually got a personality. Like, he's not that uniform answer every single time. And it's unfortunate because I feel guys like that get not necessarily shuffled out, but they maybe don't get as much screen time as much anymore because it seems like the NHL is afraid to point out that there are different personalities in a locker room.
Yeah, it's just the stigma too around it, right? Where it's like, okay, if you're not a star player, you shut up and you just keep your answers in this box, and it's head down, and it's, we got to get pucks in deep. Our cycle game's got to get better. We got to chip it in, chip it out, and then we got to, get the cycle. And it's like repetitive. They just keep repeating themselves, where it's like, man, if they felt like they could be comfortable and be themselves, whether it's a star player or not, like, you would have so many more eyes on hockey. And even, I'm not saying like the NBA does it right at all, but it's like what those guys' salaries are and how they are tied into pop culture and just the lifestyle of different things, whether it's hip hop or just everything. I think the NHL is lacking that, where it's, you could be coming into a game, wearing something outrageous. Why not? Who cares? It's not that big of a deal. Why do I have to have a half Windsor on my knot for my tie and be wearing something from Brooks Brothers? It's like, you don't need that. Like, be able to wear showcase whoever you are. Walk in with something crazy, because ultimately that gets clicks, that gets back to the league, and that shows, okay, well, wow, look at this hockey guy. Like, he's doing something different. And that's how you really rope other people in. And then once you actually go to a game, as you guys know, if you're a non-traditional hockey fan watching a game for the first time, you're like, this is sick. Like, it's the fastest game in the world. There's fights, there's hits, there's, pucks flying around. It's crazy. So that's where I just think it's like, you got to stop playing so safe at times and just, really like push these guys to showcase that more.
Well, let's just say you're still in the league and you want to do what you're doing now. You want to have a golf brand. You want to have a podcast. You want to do these live shows. Do you think the NHL says, yeah, no problem, Schmaltz, you go do that?
No chance. No chance. But then you see other sports where, like, Draymond Green will only talk about what Draymond Green wants to talk about on his podcast. He's like, I'm going to ice all these members of the media, and I'll, address this situation tomorrow on my podcast. Now, all the views are coming to him. I'm not saying that's right, but that's a way, like, why don't the Kachuk brothers have a podcast? Why don't these guys talk once a week like the Kelsey brothers? And how cool would that be? Just an inside look.
Well, I mean, they got pimped out a lot during the Four Nations face-off to basically anyone who would be willing to have them, and then they just put them right back in the locker as soon as they were done with the Four Nations Cup. Like, I mean, people really enjoyed that. I mean, why would you stop that?
I know, and they made their rounds a little bit. Like, I think Matthew did Jimmy Fallon one night. Brady did a couple other things in terms of a couple barstool interviews. They had like a little bit of a parade afterwards, but then again, like you said, 10 days later, it's forgotten about. And this time of year, of course, playoffs are around the corner. I get that, but I'm saying it could be all year round. These guys could be talking. Like, if you lose a game on a Tuesday, 6-2, it's not because you talked on a podcast the day before. And that's how a lot of these old heads think. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's just not how it is.
Well, I mean, even in the trials and tribulations of you playing in the lower rungs of minor pro, I mean, even the GMs there that wanted to have their thumb on all of the content. You know, it just blows me away. I mean, it just goes all the way up the ranks. It's like they're afraid to be seen.
Well, I remember like one of our first road trips out of Motor City when I was playing the Fed Schmaltz. I'm sure you heard of it in the jungle there.
Oh yeah.
And our first road trip, where I don't know, I guess we're leaving like 4 p.m. We're sitting there waiting outside on the sidewalk, waiting for the bus. It's an hour and a half late. We're like, where is this guy? Well, we hope he shows up so we can make warm-ups. He finally shows up, load everything on the bus, does a lap around the parking lot. He runs out of gas, says, oh, it's the alternator. No, dude, the fuel's on E. We got to get out. We got to get some rental vans. We drive down to the game, like stuff like that. And I remember we come back after the home and home, and the GM calls me and he's like, I don't want to hear about this in the podcast. I don't want to see any footage of it. We did not run out of gas. Like, bro, we ran out of gas in the parking lot of our own arena on a road trip.
These are great stories.
This is hilarious. Everybody wants to hear this. But
yeah,
you want to hear Vanilla
too.
Ice. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's hilarious, the fact that we rented the bus. We don't own the bus. It's not our bus driver. And this dude shows up an hour and a half late. He's like, oh, man, I'm going to be late. He knew he was out of gas and said, you know what? I'm going to squeeze out an extra hour and a half. I know the fuel light's on, but we can make it 2 hours down the road.
Oh, man, that's the real jungle, brother. That's the real jungle. Is that the same league as Danbury?
Yep, and the Hat Tricks, yeah. I played for half the teams before they started adding teams.
Is AJ Galante, is he still the owner of that squad?
No, so AJ got hired as like an assistant GM this year for the Danbury Hat Tricks. So he's kind of involved, but kind of not. He doesn't have a whole lot of wiggle room in there, but he's a cool guy, man. I've been on his show, and he's been on ours as well. He's a real beauty.
Yeah, I gotta get one of those jerseys. Those jerseys were sick back in the day. The Danbury Trashers, nasty unis.
Walk me through how the podcast actually started and your association with.
Can we go back to the social?
Because
I'm curious to pick your brain on this, Schmaltz. Sorry for cutting you
off.
off.
Go for it.
Like, I see the way the NHL is doing media is they brought in these interns from these universities, which, let's call it for what it is. They're very left-leaning. They're very woke. And that's running the NHL media department. And woke and what hockey actually is, that you and I know hockey is, do not blend well together. So we've cut out the personality. We can only see things one way. We're going to gas any physicality, any fighting, any off-brand personality, where you and I both know, Schmaltzy, guys have personality in the locker room, and it's get in the cycle game. We need another save. We just got to be better. 2 points. And like they're totally suffocating with their boot on the neck of hockey. Like, would you agree with that? And if I could wave my magic wand and you could fix things, what would you do?
Yeah, I just think there's got to be both sides. Like, you can't just favor one side of the story. And I think right now what it seems like, it's just the NHL is playing just a very safe hand. And again, it's not like it's going to be like vulgar or over the top, or guys are going to come out. It's just going to be the wild, wild west, like WWE here. But even in my experience, like, of trying to work with the NHL and in the content creator world, I guess it would be, not even in the former player side, but in like the podcasting space, like, I'm pretty sure I might be exiled from that. You know what I mean? And it's not like I'm saying anything that outrageous. I might talk about, whatever everyday life dudes do, locker room talk. Yeah, here and there. But I've even felt the effects of, trying to do things in and around the Winter Classic or working with different NHL teams. It's like it just immediately gets shut down off of one tweet or one little clip they hear where, yeah, how about you listen to the whole show, or how about you actually get to know me? I'm not that big of a psychopath or a crazy. And I just think that relates to why guys play everything safe, because it's like, it's so sensitive when it doesn't need to be that way. And to showcase personality, it shouldn't come at the expense of taking away what guys truly think. And if guys want to say something, it shouldn't matter. Like, you should be able to just sling it. Who cares? Like, yeah, there's some things that you should stay away from, maybe politically, or, there's obviously, I think most guys, especially at that level, know the line. But who's to say you can't just tiptoe with that and maybe press it a little bit further, the envelope? It's just, I don't know. It just, every time I see something with the NHL and the content, it just screams vanilla to me is all it is. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's so vanilla.
We do a hockey podcast called Sling the Biscuit every single Sunday. The clips, the bite-sized chunks are right here. Only the hits, the full-length show, which you don't want to miss, is right here. That's Dave. I'm Travis. We'll see you soon.